Mr. President, one of the amendments that has been pending is the Leahy National Guard Empowerment Amendment, which is Senate Amendment number 1072. I was just discussing with the distinguished leaders of the Armed Services Committee, Senators Levin and McCain, possibility of a time to bring that amendment up for a vote. But let me just, while we're in quorum calls anyway, let me just talk a little bit about what the amendment is. Over the past decade, as we all know, the National Guard has undergone a profound, actually an historic change. Once it was a hollow force considered only a strategic reserve for nightmare contingencies, but instead the National Guard has become an operational reserve that deploys in regular rotation with the active duty force. It's a matter of policy and reality. Army and Air National Guard troops from states around the country shoulder their load overseas, but they also carry a disproportionate share of the domestic response and disaster relief mission at home, including responding to terrorist events. Yet institutional support for the National Guard still lags behind its operational role. I think when I've been on battlefields, whether Iraq, Afghanistan, or elsewhere, and I talk to the commanders there, they don't know the difference between, look at soldiers about to deploy, which one's Guard, which one is regular force, because they're deploying together and expected to do the same job. But unfortunately, today's National Guard is a superb 21st century force trapped inside the 20th century Pentagon bureaucracy. Without raising the profile of the Chief of the National Guard Bureau and the Supreme Military Advisory Body of the Department of Defense, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the United States will miss an opportunity to capitalize on positive changes that began in response to post-9/11 operations tempo. So our amendment makes that change, as well as several others that will enhance the Guard's effectiveness. I may sound parochial, Mr. President, but I think of immediately after 9/11, we had armed F-16s flying guard over New York City, around the clock, day after day after day. They're from the Vermont Air National Guard. And they maintain their readiness 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, protecting us because we didn't know what else might come. Well, I think just about every senator here could talk about similar type things the Guard from his or her state have done. Now, in this period of flatlining or even declining Pentagon budgets, the Department of Defense has to increase the role of the National Guard as an element of the overall force mix. Without the Chief of the National Guard Bureau on the Joint Chiefs of Staff, among the other changes made by this amendment, the unique experience of nearly 500,000 members of the National Guard will continue to be largely unknown. And their voices, their interests, their concerns will go mostly unheard. So the change is not only necessary, it's actually a decade overdue. This amendment is not just out of the blue. It has 70 co-sponsors. More than 2/3 of the United States Senate support it. It's an overwhelmingly bipartisan majority of senators. It goes across the political spectrum. It goes across the states of this nation. And it demonstrates that the provisions contained in this amendment, all of which empower the National Guard, should be included in this year's National Defense Authorization Act.